Tonight on News 5 Live, growing concerns among Belizeans prompt the security apparatus to discuss mounting aggression among cartels in Quintana Roo. Local LPG companies are free to import butane following court appeal ruling. And attorney Godfrey Smith says the central bank is looking into allegations against Atlantic Bank Limited. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
For 19 years, SMART has been the pulse of our nation. A journey of growth, innovation, resilience, and unity.
From the first call that bridged distances to the data that brought us closer than ever, SMART has been there, weaving threads of connection across our beautiful land.
We have been active in providing innovative solutions to enhance our customers' lifestyles. Over the years, SMART has developed and provided various services to meet customers' needs.
To the dreamers, doers, and the believers, thank you for making SMART a part of your story. For 19 years of trust, loyalty, partnership, and shared experiences.
As we celebrate 19 years of connecting lives and dreams, let's keep the rhythm alive. Together, let's continue to shape our future one connection at a time.
Come and be a part of the SMART family, where we empower you and our country today, tomorrow, and beyond.
SMART, bringing people together.
13,835,700 eggs are eaten by tourists each year, fueling our thriving economy. Tourism means business.
My name is Leomar Langsert and I'm a teacher and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is the safety features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer, with these online that Belize Bank offered, is basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
LG dual inverter compressor cools air faster by operating at speeds as high as 120 Hz with more stability compared to conventional models. It also saves up to 70% more energy by operating at speeds as low as 10 Hz with more stability. It reduces torque vibration down to 40% for quiet outdoor unit operation. Stable operation with low vibrations also results in increased durability.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, May 1st. I am Sabrina Daly. We begin our newscast tonight with an escalation in deadly cartel violence just north of the Belize border with Mexico in Chetumal, Quintana Roo. The popular Belizean destination has become a war zone for feuding drug gangs that operate in that southern Mexican state. Violent encounters between heavily armed gunmen have prompted the Mexican military to dispatch 200 members of the Mexican Army, Air Force, and National Guard to the Oton Blanco municipality to quell growing insecurity among residents. This follows the murders of a businessman as well as the head of the Secretariat of Citizen Security and a minor whose father is a municipal police officer. Authorities have made several arrests, and there has also been the kidnapping of a captain of the Mexican Army, who was released hours later. The rash of violence between the cartels has raised serious concerns among Belizeans who travel to neighboring Chetumal. News 5 spoke with Oscar Arnold, Belize's ambassador to Mexico, about the recent upheaval and his safety advice for Belizeans traveling to Quintana Roo.
The official word coming out is that it's two rivaling groups, two groups who are feuding, and as such, the incidences have been targeted to people who supposedly is on a list. The entire Quintana Roo area, as you know, is a tourist hotspot, is a tourist destination. It includes everywhere from Calderitas, Bacalar, Ixcalac, Tulum, Playa, Cancun. For Mexico, tourism is a $40 billion a year industry, so it's not something that they take lightly. And as far back as 2019, the federal government had dispatched National Guards. They had dispatched 1,500 National Guards to the Cancun and Tulum area to address and arrest the issues that were flaring up there in crime. So we're seeing it at a smaller scale in Chetumal. And what they've been doing is that they've sent these National Guardsmen to try to support and assist and try to quell any further incidences from occurring. As it relates to Belizeans, I believe that the government of Belize, the Foreign Affairs Office, as well as the security apparatus in Belize have been monitoring it. There's been numerous meetings. I've been asked to send whatever intelligence, whatever report that we have on the ground, so that they can review it and take and look at it to see if there's a decision that needs to be taken. I don't think we're there yet, but Belizeans should observe some caution if they're traveling across the border. I know that we go there for recreation, we go there to shop, we go there to visit family members, we go there for medical reasons, but I would advise them to stay on the major roads. Don't travel at night, don't travel alone. Make sure that you have all your requisite paperwork if you're taking a vehicle over there, insurance, registration, and also to ensure that you check in formally at the immigration checkpoint at the border crossing. We've had several instances where Belizeans just drive across and then they run into a roadblock or a checkpoint later on down the road, and then they get charged for committing some sort of immigration violation. Belizeans going over to Chetumal should expect to see increased security, increased roadblocks in and around Chetumal.
On the home front, Belizean authorities met earlier today to discuss citizen and national security in the face of mounting cartel aggression in southern Mexico. With concerns being raised among business owners in the Corozal Free Zone, as well as travelers and residents near the northern border, the security apparatus came together this morning to discuss a strategy should the violence seep into northern Belize. Commissioner of Police Chester Williams spoke with the media this afternoon.
I guess by now the information coming out of Chetumal has been widespread within the Belizean population, and there is some cause for concern by Belizeans in the event that what is happening there may trickle into Belize. And while we can look at the information coming out of there as reliable, there is also some that is not reliable. We know how your colleagues in the media can be at times, right? But as the security apparatus of the country, it is important that we meet. And so we met this morning to discuss our strategy in terms of how we are going to address the issues locally. There is no cause for concern or alarm, as there is no information at this time to indicate that any of the players from Chetumal have or is coming into the country. But just as a means of precaution and to give the Belizean people that sense of safety and security, we met to discuss how we're going to deploy our resources in the northern area and to see how we can reorganize our current northern operations to make sure that we can cover as much grounds as we can. Our team, police and BDF, remain extremely vigilant along the irregular border crossing as well as the regular border crossing. So there is where we are at this time.
Are the Mexican cartels and their operatives establishing themselves inside the Corozal Free Zone? It's a question that was put to the Commissioner of Police following dubious reports that individuals believed to have been members of the warring drug gangs are taking hold of the CFZ. Here's how Compo Williams responded to that question.
No, at this time, no. We did have an operation in the free zone yesterday where we had seen 2 vehicles that we were told had been left abandoned. And we went to retrieve those vehicles, but when we got there, the owners came out. And the vehicles were checked. They were legitimate vehicles, and the owners were also checked out as well. And so those vehicles were released to their respective owners.
There was a report at some point that there was a cartel operative living within the free zone. Whatever happened with that?
I guess we had done something about that. I personally had put out a notice or a warning in respect of that, and that person no longer resides or is in any way around the free zone area. He has removed himself from there, and so currently there's no information to indicate that any of the bad actors from over the Mexican side are operating or living within the free zone area. No.
So you would not say then that the free zone is compromised by cartel operatives from Mexico?
At this time, no, the free zone is very safe. The security of the free zone remains in place, and the police goes there now and then. We also have a team of police officers who work the free zone area, and so far all remains in order at the free zone.
What about Belize's ability to match firepower with the Mexican cartels should there be an armed conflict? According to the top cop, compared to what has been put forward elsewhere on social media, the Belize Defense Force, as well as its local counterparts, is more than capable and can meet the cartels where weapons are concerned.
Our team remains in place, extremely vigilant and alert. And contrary to what I heard a voice clip which was done by Santiago Castillo, where he said that the Belizean security forces are no match to the cartels. That's not true. We are prepared in the event that anything should happen. This is our country, our people, and we will defend our country and our people as best as we can. There is no time to be in fear of nothing or nobody. I have not gotten any information to indicate that any member of the security forces, whether Coast Guard, police, or BDF, are in fear of anything. No, that's no fear at all. No.
Over time, members of the Belize Police Department have said to me that the weapons they have are no match even for our gangs here. And this is before we saw those photographs of what was found on St. George's Key. Now, Mexican cartels are on a way different level when it comes to weaponry and what they have access to.
We have to understand that when we do patrols in urban settings, we don't issue big guns. So don't be fooled by the small 38 or 9mm you see with the police officers patrolling the urban areas. When we have officers conducting operations in the jungles, or for example the northern operations where they're doing patrols along the irregular border crossing areas, we don't carry 9mm or 38. We have weapons that are equally or more capable than what the enemies may have.
While elements of the Mexican cartels are embedded in parts of northern Belize, the police department says that it is working carefully to weed out these criminals. When asked if the recent murder in Consejo village last week was the result of drug activity related to the cartels, Compal Williams could not provide a definitive response.
We know that we do have operatives in Belize who are on the side of the cartels. We know that. I'm not going to go into details in terms of our operational strategies, but certainly as a part thereof is to make sure that we target those persons who we believe are operating in Belize for the cartels. And I'll leave it at that.
So the murder in Consejo, Johnny Arana, was his death, I think we understand it's narco-related, but can you confirm this? And is it related somehow to any of the situations that are happening in Chetumal right now?
We know that it has a lot to do with the issue of drug distribution in Corozal. We can't say if it is narco-related. We believe that those persons who executed that murder are from Belize, and we're looking for them.
Coming up, compensation sum for LPG companies back in High Court for deliberation.
Man, ever since everybody here, the next big thing there, the excitement can't done. Everyone wants to know more.
More?
Yes, please. I tell them, say hello to unlimited data, only with Digi. You can now enjoy unlimited data with Digi's postpaid plans, like the Plus plan, which just got cheaper, I might add. The Elite and Max plans also have unlimited data. You can have from 5 to 7 people on your shared plan, with all having unlimited data 24/7. I tell you, big things. If you're not signed up already, I suggest you sign up now. Make the switch to Digi. The next big thing the year, go sign up for your unlimited data. Unlimited is unlimited. Never worry about data again.
The Atlantic International Bank, biggest and costliest disputes in Belize's banking history, has ended with a now approved $23 million settlement. That's how much Atlantic International Bank must fork over to the Federal Trade Commission.
Remember back in 2019 when Atlantic International Bank was sued for its involvement in the Sanctuary Bay land scam?
The amount involved would in any case have killed the bank.
It has already forced the winding up of Belize's largest offshore bank, Atlantic International, and that has left scores of depositors holding an empty bag, standing to lose possibly all their savings.
Back then, it was Atlantic International, killed by a $23 million settlement. Now, Atlantic Bank has loaned over $60 million to State Bank without adequate collateral.
So, what will the central bank Governor Kareem Michael do?
Mr. Governor, will you not address the nation? Should depositors be concerned about their money?
Greetings from the Ministry of Rural Transformation, Community Development, Labor and Local Government. Today, as we commemorate Labor Day, let us take a moment to recognize the invaluable contribution of each worker in Belize. We appreciate the hard work, dedication, and the significant roles each worker plays in our country. It is the dedication and commitment of our workforce that drives Belize forward. In this rapidly evolving world of work, characterized by transformative changes and unprecedented challenges, it is critical that we adapt and innovate to ensure the well-being of our workers. As we reflect on the significance of Labor Day, let us consider the critical changes shaping our world of work and the proactive steps we are taking to respond to these changes. Our Ministry of Labor has been actively working on improving the working conditions and empowering our workforce. Through strategic initiatives and partnerships, we are laying the groundwork for a better future for our workers. We have embarked on a journey of digital transformation by upgrading our digital platforms and enhancing services like the temporary employment permit and the labor complaints management system, making them more efficient and user-friendly. Recognizing the evolving nature of the labor market, we are also undertaking a comprehensive review and modernization of the Labor Act enacted in 1960. With support of the International Labor Organization and collaboration of the Labor Advisory Board, we anticipate achieving a modernized Labor Act for Belize. We are also revising the Trade Union Act and the Trade Union and Employers Organization Act to streamline and enhance their relevance, which will improve industrial relations and protect the rights and interests of both workers and employers. Additionally, we are currently developing a new decent work country program with the International Labor Organization supported by the Labor Advisory Board. We have also initiated efforts to reintroduce the Occupational Safety and Health Bill. Through extensive engagement, we formulated recommendations to strengthen the bill and to create safer workplaces. After receiving approval from the Cabinet in January 2024, the bill is now under review by the Attorney General's Ministry before its reintroduction to the National Assembly. Furthermore, we have been actively ensuring the implementation of the $5 minimum wage increase, which became effective on January 1st, 2023. By monitoring and enforcing compliance, the Ministry is working closely with employers, providing advice and conducting routine inspections. To better prepare our national workforce, we have implemented a professional development training program for employment officers and established strategic partnerships for job preparedness training and employment initiatives, opening new opportunities for people to enhance their skills and access employment opportunities. Additionally, with support from the Inter-American Development Bank, we are conducting a diagnostic on the public employment services for Belize, aiming to modernize employment services by enhancing labor, intermediation, and migration management, along with digitalization efforts. Furthermore, we are combating the worst forms of child labor through various initiatives. Our comprehensive child labor awareness and education campaign has reached thousands of students, highlighted by educational sessions and a national poster competition. We have also signed memoranda of understanding with key industry associations to eradicate child labor from major industries. Finally, our public awareness and education efforts have reached thousands of Belizean workers and employers, enhancing understanding and compliance with labor laws and regulations across the country. As we celebrate these achievements, let us acknowledge the invaluable contributions of all our stakeholders, including our dedicated employees, employers, and all members of the boards and tribunals under the auspices of the Labor Department. Your support and collaboration are essential as we build a brighter future for all Belizeans. Thank you, and I extend my best wishes to all hardworking laborers and a happy Labor Day.
There's been a shift in Belize's liquefied petroleum gas landscape yet again. Viewers may recall that back in 2019, the government of Belize passed the National Liquefied Gas Project Act in tandem with the establishment of National Gas Company Limited. Long-established LPG dealers were technically boxed out from the wholesale business and relegated to selling LPG on the retail market. As a result, Gastomsa Limited, Western Gas Company Limited, Southern Choice Butane, and Belize Western Energy Limited took the government of Belize to court for breach of their constitutional right to property. In 2022, the High Court ordered the government to pay more than $10 million in compensation to the companies for damages. But what those companies truly wanted was for the law to be struck out so that they could resume importing LPG. Well, the matter was taken to the Court of Appeals, and the four companies were successful in having that aspect of the legislation repealed. The group of companies was represented by four attorneys, including Senior Counsel Godfrey Smith, who spoke with us today about this latest ruling.
The upshot of the judgment, perhaps three takeaways. One, that the National Liquefied Petroleum Gas Project Act, passed by the government in 2019 and amended in 2021, has been ruled by the Court of Appeal to be in breach of Gastomsa and the other gas companies of their right to property and in breach of their right to work. That's two. The third important takeaway is that requirement in the amendment to the law that says if you want to import LPG into Belize, you must have storage facility of a minimum of 1.5 million US gallons to be able to get permission to import LPG. The government's attempt to say, well, we're not breaching anybody's right because you're free to bring in LPG provided you can have build a storage facility of 1.5 million. The argument was clearly that's impossible, it's impractical, it can't be reached. And it is effectively stymies your right to work, your right to freely choose to be an importer of LPG. And the court upheld that. So as it stands, therefore, based on our interpretation of the judgment, Gastomza and the other litigants, Western Energy Gas and so on, would now be free to build a storage capacity within their economic costs, within their reach, that they seem practical, that they're able to build, and then apply for permission to bring in LPG.
As for the $10 million compensation for damages awarded to the group of LPG companies, Attorney Smith says the Court of Appeal has ordered that the High Court further assesses the sum. And though the LPG companies are free to exercise their right to import, there is no guarantee that they will be able to acquire the necessary permits from the government of Belize.
There is also the matter of compensation for the breach of their rights, which the Court of Appeal ordered sent back to the High Court to be reassessed. I should point out, for completeness, that the gas companies, Gastomza and Western Energy and the others, also argued that other fundamental rights were breached, like the right to freedom of association and equality of law. The Court of Appeal said no, those were not breached. And the $10 million awarded by the High Court, the Court of Appeal found that there was not sufficient evidence of that, it wasn't properly pleaded, so it has to be, damages has to be reassessed, meaning done over. And I think if I was to attempt to distill it into one significant thing, it's that requirement, that onerous, impossible to reach requirement of having to have a storage facility of 1.5 million US gallons to be able to import LPG has been deleted from the law.
Your clients are now free to exercise their business rights.
Assuming there is no appeal. Assuming there is no appeal. Yeah.
But are they assured of getting a permit? And I know the court cannot order an authority to give them a permit, but they still don't have a permit to sell wholesale LPG in Belize.
Yes, they will have to apply. Whoever wishes to continue to, I think one of them went out of business, I think it's Southern Choice Butane. There were 4 claimants at the very beginning of the case. One went out of business because of the introduction of that requirement. If the 3 wish to continue in the business of importing LPG, yes, they're going to have to apply for a permit. And yes, it's possible that a government can deny you a permit, but it can't be for any arbitrary, oppressive reason. It has to be for a good reason, especially because these companies were in the business before for many, many years.
Last Monday, the attorney for Michael Finstein, Godfrey Smith, wrote to the governor of the Central Bank of Belize requesting an investigation of Atlantic Bank Limited. The allegation was that ABL committed, quote, serial breaches of the Domestic Banks and Financial Institutions Act, end quote. The letter noted that ABL approved and disbursed over $60 million in loan funds to State Bank Enterprise Limited, using monies belonging to depositors, as well as the pension funds of employees working at Atlantic Bank Limited. The letter asserts that this was done without ensuring that adequate security was put in place at the onset. These were among the numerous allegations raised against ABL in the letter. Today, when reporters caught up with Smith, he said that the Central Bank of Belize has assured him that they are looking into the allegations.
As I understand it, the Central Bank is looking into the matter.
They've acknowledged receipt of your letter?
Yes, they have.
But in terms of processes, what do you expect next? Like, have they given a timeline, or do you expect that by a specific time they should respond?
No, I'm not aware of any timeline, but I understand the matter is being taken seriously and being looked at, being examined.
How do you proceed? Will you give the bank Feinstein give the bank a certain time, let's say 3 months, and after that, what, take them to court if you've not had a response?
Well, I don't think we're there yet. As I said, I think the Central Bank of Belize is taking the matter absolutely seriously and looking at the allegations, as it should, as it's obliged to do, as it is doing, as far as I'm aware.
The Central Bank of Belize announced on Tuesday that it has withdrawn Practice Direction Number 7 Act, PD7, following deliberate negotiations and collaboration with the domestic banks. PD7 sought to impose restrictions on certain fees and penalties by the banks. Belize Bank Limited challenged the legality of the act, and in January, the High Court granted the bank an interim injunction to put a temporary halt on its enforcement. According to the Central Bank of Belize, further discussions was held to resolve any objections related to the act. As a result, the domestic banks have agreed to voluntarily implement a list of 6 measures as of June 1st. One is that no fee will be charged for accounts closed within 1 to 3 months of opening. Another is that no fee will be charged for the issuance of letters for the purpose of salary release or cancellation. Additionally, the fee for withdrawn at ATMs of the same institution from which the funds are being withdrawn will be capped at 25 cents. Today, Senior Counsel Godfrey Smith, attorney for Belize Bank Limited, told reporters that the bank is comfortable with making the required adjustments.
We got here, as you intimated, through a process of discussions between the Central Bank of Belize and the banks who stood to be affected by PD7. There were discussions, and as you rightly point out, Central Bank agreed to withdraw PD7, and the banks will put certain measures in place. I believe it is on the 1st of June and subsequent to that date as well, to voluntarily put in place certain measures.
Does the bank now have some comfort with this reduction in ATM charges going forward?
I would have to say so, because otherwise they would not have agreed to voluntarily implement the measures to be implemented on 1st June and subsequent thereto. I believe I saw some ad from the Central Bank on the news showing the measures that are to be implemented. But the answer to your question is, if they were not happy with it or thought that it would be deleterious, they would not have agreed, and they've agreed to voluntarily implement these measures.
Belize Bank Limited has undertaken to discontinue its claim upon the revocation of PD7. The Joint Unions negotiation team met with representatives of the government of Belize today after 7 months. The union's negotiating team is comprised of members from the Belize National Teachers Union, the Public Service Union, and the Association of Public Service Senior Managers. The joint unions wrote Deputy Prime Minister Cordell Hyde a few weeks ahead of today's meeting, proposing 8 items for discussion. Among the proposal was a request to have the concluded collective agreement between the government of Belize and the joint unions signed, a call for tax reform, and the establishment of a UN anti-corruption commission. We caught up with the Deputy Prime Minister after the meeting in Belize City, who spoke briefly about some of the outcomes from today's discussions.
I'll tell you the big deliverable that we've been able to deliver. There's been a matter of the CBA that's been 16 years outstanding, and a particular sticking point for all those years was a Proposal 22. You must have heard about that. The big issue being that teachers, particularly at the schools, teachers at the secondary school level that are not government schools, government pays 70% of their salaries. The denominational managements pay 30%. And so upon retirement, government pays 70% of the pension. The managements pay 30%. But for many, many years, lots of those teachers who've given 35 years of their lives to teaching, to service, were unable to collect their full pension because the managers have had a difficulty with that. And so Proposal 22 from the unions from way back as 2008 was about saying to the government, why don't you take on 100% of those salaries at the high school level, at the tertiary level, and not just for teachers, but also for ancillary staff and for the rest of the staff members. And that's been a sticking point for all those years, 16 long years. And in December, government finally agreed, this government agreed that we would cover that we would respond favorably to Proposal 22.
We also heard from Nadia Kaliz, the president of the Belize National Teachers Union. Kaliz told reporters that both groups have agreed on June 5th to sign off on Proposal 22 and the collective bargaining agreement. Here is what she told us.
What we did is that we looked at a number of proposals that we sent to government approximately 2 weeks ago. We gave them time to go through it. So today's meeting was basically for us to discuss those things. We did look at the increment suspension. We looked at tax reform. We looked at pension reform. And the fact that we had additional suggestions for government, they will be going back to their team to discuss those things. And then we're going to our team to share with them some of the things that we agreed to. What we did is that we looked at a number of proposals that we sent to government approximately 2 weeks ago. We gave them time to go through it. So today's meeting was basically for us to discuss those things. We did look at the increment suspension. We looked at tax reform. We looked at pension reform. And the fact that we had additional suggestions for government, they will be going back to their team to discuss those things. And then we're going to our team to share with them some of the things that we agreed to.
Out of the 8 demands that were presented, was anything brought here today? I understand the CBA was put forward.
Okay, 2 very important things happened. On June 5th, we'll be signing off on Proposal 22 and closing off the CBA. And we got the government to agree to paying 50% of what is due to people who have retired, at least within the past 30 days, because there's so many persons out there who are clamoring for what is rightfully theirs. And so through today's negotiations, government committed to giving those retired persons 50% of what is rightfully theirs. So for us, that's a plus.
After the break, police say slain murder suspect also killed Rosalito Pacheco. But first, here's a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
Design Depot, your all-in-one destination for transforming your living spaces. Explore the world of GE with our selection of cutting-edge appliances for functional, convenient, and modern living. Find solutions for every paint project, from home to industrial, with our extensive selection of Sherwin-Williams paints and coatings. Safeguard your home with the durability of our weather-resistant windows and doors. Elevate your kitchen and bath with the timeless elegance of Kohler sinks and faucets. Transform your space with our constantly refreshed tile inventory, always embracing the latest tile trends. Design Depot, your source for innovation, inspiration, and impeccable design. Design Depot, all in one place.
My name is Denise Mala. I had an aunt, one of my mom's sister, that we believe died from cancer. She was relatively young. And my sister passed from cervical cancer. I have been doing annual checkups. Recently, after one of the annual checkups, I noticed, a change in one of my breasts. I went for the next checkup earlier and I brought it to the attention of my treating doctor. He looked at it and he said he didn't like what he was seeing. A biopsy was requested and then the biopsy came back positive. When you first find out these things, you think about a lot of things and then eventually it comes around to the finance. I recalled this insurance, critical illness insurance that I had that I was paying. And that was probably the first time I read that contract. I read it in its entirety. And then I recognized that, this is going to assist me. I called the office, spoke with my agent. He was very helpful, guided me through what I needed to do. So I went through the process and I communicated with him a couple times and he just informed me what was happening. In a pretty short period of time, I was paid my insurance. This plan that I had been paying for many years, in my time of need, that came through for me. Having that insurance helped me significantly. It is absolutely something that everyone should consider because you never know when you're going to need it.
The Atlantic International Bank, biggest and costliest disputes in Belize's banking history, has ended with a now approved $23 million settlement. That's how much Atlantic International Bank must fork over to the Federal Trade Commission.
Remember back in 2019 when Atlantic International Bank was sued for its involvement in the Sanctuary Bay land scam?
The amount involved would, in any case, have killed the bank.
It has already forced the winding up of Belize's largest offshore bank, Atlantic International, and that has left scores of depositors holding an empty bag, standing to lose possibly all their savings.
Back then, it was Atlantic International, killed by a $23 million settlement. Now, Atlantic Bank has loaned over $60 million to State Bank without adequate collateral.
So, what will the central bank Governor Kareem Michael do?
Mr. Governor, will you not address the nation? Should depositors be concerned about their money?
The success of the most recent state of emergency that expired last Friday has been called into question by the Belizean public, particularly residents of the old capital whose neighborhoods were designated as hotspots amid a rash of gang-related incidents. When asked about the effectiveness of the latest roundup, Compal Williams said that a number of individuals were charged with various offenses, including the murder of a policeman in Roaring Creek Village.
We did charge some people with some offenses or some crime. You would know that some people were charged for murder, including 2 who were charged for the murder of the police officer in Roaring Creek. And we also are looking for 2 other suspects in respect to a murder in Belize City. But as I had said before, that we needed more time to complete the gang investigation. So while the SOE has expired, or to use Marisol words, died of a natural cause.
Natural death.
We continue our investigation in terms of the gang membership, and whenever the GI3 get through with those investigations, then we'll be filing or levying charges against some people.
Was slain murder suspect Cruz Castillo, who was shot and killed by police in Cotton Tree Village several weeks ago, the same individual believed to have taken the life of missing Corozal cab driver Rosalito Pacheco. Pacheco's remains were discovered over the weekend after being reported missing by family and friends on February 1st. His vehicle was later discovered in Fresh Pond at the end of February, and a family of 3 was arrested and jointly charged with handling stolen property. According to Commissioner of Police Chester Williams, Cruz was the prime suspect in the murder of Shane Beiser and Rosalito Pacheco.
From all indications we have gathered, yes, he was responsible.
And so, since Mr. Castillo is dead, that case, in that sense, that's the justice that the family receives. But what happened to the persons found with the cab? Do you investigate further how they came into possession of the cab?
Yes, that was a part of our investigation. We have also gathered that information, and that matter is before the court.
A new seatbelt law came into force recently in an attempt to enforce traffic laws and prevent grave road traffic accidents across the country. While the effectiveness of the new measure is yet to be determined, there are allegations of extortion being made against members of the Belize Police Department. According to Compal Williams, the department will advocate for a change in the existing laws to make the issue of persons not wearing seatbelts a ticketable offense.
I hope not. The complaint from Crystal Railroad had to do with that, the issue of seatbelt. And we will be lobbying to government or parliament to see how we can get the seatbelt law a ticketed offense as opposed to a arrestable offense. To arrest a person for a seatbelt is extremely tedious. It's a lengthy process. So if we can make it a ticketable offense, it is more easier to both the offender and the police officers. 'Cause when we have to remove officers from the street to come and charge someone for seatbelt, we left the street open because the police officers could be out there patrolling, preventing crime, and we have to be inside the station processing a person to charge them for seatbelt. So just as we have the traffic offences that are ticketable, we will ask that the seatbelt offence be a ticketed one as well.
When we return, San Pedro Mayor intends to run in Belize rural south.
La formación del Centro Neurológico del Hospital Galenia es que esas enfermedades que son altamente complejas y que muchos de nuestros pacientes tenían que emigrar hacia otra parte de la República u otra parte de México ahora puedan ser atendidos aquí.
La atención quirúrgica en el centro neurológico se forma dentro de un grupo multidisciplinario que incluye tanto neurólogos, médicos internistas, ortopedistas, neurocirujanos, pediatras. Y este esfuerzo que se ha realizado para conjuntar todos los especialistas es para siempre brindar al paciente un abordaje multidisciplinario y transversal. Evidentemente, mientras más rápido podamos llegar al diagnóstico de los pacientes, más rápido podemos tratarlos, resolverlos y por ende mejor resultado vamos a tener al final. Entonces creo que la prioridad y el fundamento principal de un proyecto como este es justamente eso, que no se pierda tiempo de forma innecesaria para poder al final del día llegar al mejor de los resultados con un tratamiento completo, integral y oportuno. Y las visiones desde diferentes perspectivas nos permiten tener pues el mejor tratamiento y la mejor opción para el paciente.
Tenemos la capacidad técnica, operativa, profesional y la infraestructura de poder establecer una atención neurológica de alta calidad.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Aiwa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Aiwa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Aiwa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Aiwa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Aiwa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
Shabat is a complete failure.
It seems that the battles follow me wherever I go.
The first important task given to him after getting elected was to head the Ministry of Health and Wellness in the midst of the pandemic. And he failed so miserably, the ministry had to be taken away from him. Since then, he has continued to fail the people of Kaya North. The UDP left a modern, grant-funded water project in progress for Bullet Tree, and it was abandoned by Shabat, leaving the village to suffer. The UDP left adequate funding and 5.19 acres of designated land for a new high school and primary school in the Kontiki area. That is also now being abandoned by Shabat. In 3 years, more than $1 million in community development funds and monies from the community vote have been disbursed to him at over $26,000 per month. But no one knows what he has done with it for the people of Kaya North. The voters of the constituency sent Shabat a clear message on March 6 that they are not pleased with him. But rather than heed the message, he issues insults even to members of his own party.
These blue conquers who now seek to undermine us.
Shabat has completely failed Kaya North, and Kaya North will completely reject him.
Hi, my name is Leah Mangar, and I am currently the Administrative Assistant at Yasche Conservation Trust here in beautiful Punta Gorda. I received the Social Security Board Scholarship in the year of 2021. After I was told that I was a successful recipient of this scholarship, I was very grateful. This scholarship has assisted me in various ways. Firstly, it relieved me of financial constraints. So that was the main obstacle that was keeping me back. But receiving this scholarship allowed me to gain the skills and the knowledge that I needed to attain the job that I currently have. I would just encourage you all to apply to the scholarship, and the process is very, very easy. You will find a link and it will direct you to everything that you need in order to submit your application. And once you submit it, pray and just hope for the best, because you just will never know if you can get it.
For 19 years, SMART has been the pulse of our nation. A journey of growth, innovation, resilience, and unity.
From the first call that bridged distances to the data that brought us closer than ever, SMART has been there, weaving threads of connection across our beautiful land.
We have been active in providing innovative solutions to enhance our customers' lifestyles. Over the years, SMART has developed and provided various services to meet customers' needs.
To the dreamers, doers, and the believers, thank you for making SMART a part of your story. For 19 years of trust, loyalty, partnership, and shared experiences.
As we celebrate 19 years of connecting lives and dreams, let's keep the rhythm alive. Together, let's continue to shape our future one connection at a time.
Come and be a part of the SMART family, where we empower you and our country today, tomorrow, and beyond.
SMART, bringing people together.
On Tuesday, we told you about San Pedro Mayor Wally Nunez's bid for a seat in the House of Representatives when he announced his interest to run in Belize rural South. As he explained on his Facebook post, his purpose is driven by the voters of the constituency, which, he told us today, goes all the way back to 2012, when he was first asked to represent the residents of Belize rural South. And from what he told us, there is quite some history to his story and interesting reasons why he remained in the shadows until now.
The main reasons why I decided to put my name is because I ran back in 2012 as a counselor, and I saw the support. We had a lot of support, and I was the only person that won at that time as a counselor from our party. Afterwards, in 2015, when I decided to run again, people were asking me to run as a mayoral candidate. At that time, there was a lot of issues within the party, and we didn't want to go to a convention. So I decided to step back and give a chance to the person to run for mayoral. After 2015, I realized that the people were asking me to run for mayor. That's why we didn't win the elections in 2015. And in 2021, I decided to go for it. And we saw the support, the level of support we got in 2021 was huge. And in 2024, this past election, we can see the margin that we have increased and the level of support that we've gotten out on the campaign trail. I was always asked by the residents that they will be voting for our team, but they would want me to go for area rep. I always used to tell them that I will think about it because I am running for mayor, but I will think about it and I will let them know. But now, right after the elections, everybody has been asking me and telling me that they want to support the party, but they want me to be representing them. And I decided to put up my name. And that's the reason why I noticed there was a release from the People's United Party that it is open for anybody who wants to apply to contest for the general elections. I decided to put out my name.
Have you formally forwarded that application to the CUCs? And what has been the responses?
I am getting all my documents together to send to the party, but I haven't sent it in yet. I will be sending it first thing next week. We have up until the 24th of this month to submit applications. This is not anything personal against the current era rep. It is what the people have been asking for, and I have been listening to what the people are asking me when we have been out on the campaign.
If Nunes is allowed to run against Perez in a convention and wins, then he will have to vacate the mayoral seat in order to contest the general elections next year. If that happens, then there will have to be an election to replace him as mayor. In February, the Belize Tourism Board held a groundbreaking ceremony for the launch of a boardwalk in the twin towns of San Ignacio and Santa Elena. The project was to introduce a new park and boardwalk near the Macal River in hopes of increasing tourism activity in the area. However, it was put on hold following the re-election of Mayor Earl Trapp, who said that he was never informed of the project's proceedings. We spoke with Minister of Tourism and Diaspora Relations Anthony Mahler today, who told us that the project is back on track.
Sir, can you talk about the Santa Elena, San Ignacio Boardwalk? I know there's been some disruption in the project due to shifting town council. Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, we're working it out. I had a good meeting with Mayor Trapp, and he and I are reasonable people, so we quickly saw eye to eye, and we're going to work on projects to uplift the communities that you have spoken about or asked about.
So we can anticipate that that project will proceed?
Yes. And more.
Individuals from various small island developing states and countries are in a week-long workshop on how to collect and exchange environmental information for best practice solutions. The training is part of a response to a call for action on data solutions in 2022 by these developing states and countries. This is to accelerate the implementation of the 2030 Agenda and formalize the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. The framework sets out an ambitious pathway to reach the global vision of a world living in harmony with nature by 2050. News 5's Marian Ali attended part of the event and spoke with the organizer and key participants to find out how countries can benefit from this initiative. Here's that report.
The idea behind the workshop is to unlock the potential for the small island developing states and countries to learn from each other about data solutions in environmental information systems that already exist. Maximilian Pardo is the UN Secretary SIDS Interregional Advisor who organized the workshop. He told News 5 that best practices can come from the discussion considering climate change and its impact on the environment.
SIDS formed a SIDS Coalition for Nature that was actually launched at COP15 on biodiversity 2 years ago in 2022. And that coalition launched a call for action with 3 priorities. Those 3 priorities are financing for nature, data for nature, and biodiversity mainstreaming in order to support SIDS in the implementation of the global biodiversity framework that was actually adopted in 2022. This is one workshop that is actually part of a 2-year project, really trying to facilitate best practices to be replicated from one country to another. We talk about data solutions for nature, but of course we cannot talk about nature without talking about climate change, and we cannot talk about climate change without talking about nature.
2 of the participants at the forum are Anika Jarvis, a data consultant in the Ministry of Environment in Antigua and Barbuda, and Trina Palacio, a Blue Economy Officer in the Ministry of Blue Economy and Disaster Risk Management.
I really liked Trinidad and Tobago's biodiversity information system. I think we've implemented a few different systems of our own, but those have been more climate change focused, so I think that's a good model to follow. They just have a biodiversity system that's meant to house a lot of their biodiversity focused data, looking at their protected areas and also what researchers in the country have been doing as well.
We have different methodologies on how we produce data, how we actually share data, how we utilize data, the analytics, etc. And They have certain methodologies that would be very much applicable to Belize. At this time, we have systems that we have developed, but there are better ways sometimes of doing things. They're also able to learn from us as it relates to the ways how we collect data or how we share data.
For the organizer, Maximilian Pardo, walking away with a better idea on enhanced data collection and file access and use is key when the need arises in these vulnerable regions.
Having actually evidence-based measures to protect the environment will automatically be a vehicle to have actually sound climate change adaptation and mitigation measures that are needed in seeds and in other countries, but in seeds in particular because they are at on the front line of the multiple crises between nature loss, climate change, and also even pollution.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Marian Ali.
Up next, Belize Athletic Association to host Track and Field Day.
The Atlantic International Bank fierce and costliest disputes in Belize's banking history has ended with a now approved $23 million settlement. That's how much Atlantic International Bank must fork over to the Federal Trade Commission.
Remember back in 2019 when Atlantic International Bank was sued for its involvement in the Sanctuary Bay land scam?
The amount involved would in any case have killed the bank.
It has already forced the winding up of Belize's largest offshore bank, Atlantic International, and that has left scores of depositors holding an empty bag, standing to lose possibly all their savings.
Back then, it was Atlantic International, killed by a $23 million settlement. Now, Atlantic Bank has loaned over $60 million to Stake Bank without adequate collateral.
So, what will the central bank Governor Kareem Michael do?
Mr. Governor, will you not address the nation? Should depositors be concerned about their money?
Discover a shopping experience like no other at the V Department Store. They carry a vast array of products at unbeatable prices. Elevate your shopping journey with affordability, diversity, and accessibility at the V. Conveniently located at 1745 Coney Drive in Belize City.
In May, make Benny's your one-stop shop for appliances. We have Sankey refrigerators, stoves, microwaves, washers and dryers, freezers, smart TVs, and so much more for up to 19% off. Get amazing deals for mom and appliances all May long, and don't forget your B-Bucks whenever you make a purchase to be a part of our Homecation raffle to win $10,000 in December. Benny's, quality and savings.
For 19 years, SMART has been the pulse of our nation. A journey of growth, innovation, resilience, and unity.
From the first call that bridged distances to the data that brought us closer than ever, SMART has been there, weaving threads of connection across our beautiful land.
We have been active in providing innovative solutions to enhance our customers' lifestyles. Over the years, SMART has developed and provided various services to meet customers' needs.
To the dreamers, doers, and the believers, thank you for making SMART a part of your story. For 19 years of trust, loyalty, partnership, and shared experiences.
As we celebrate 19 years of connecting lives and dreams, let's keep the rhythm alive. Together, let's continue to shape our future one connection at a time.
Come and be a part of the SMART family, where we empower you and our country today, tomorrow, and beyond.
SMART, bringing people together.
Hi, my name is Lincoln Fowers, and I work at UMAL. 100% I will recommend Belize Bank mobile banking to everyone because it saves time, money, and gas price because gas price is high right now. Belize Bank mobile banking just make life easier.
The Belize Athletic Association is inviting Belizeans to participate in a celebration of track and field this weekend on May 4th and 5th of May. The event will be held at the Marion Jones Sporting Complex and starts at 7 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday and goes on until 3:30 p.m. and 12:30 p.m. respectively. President of the Belize Athletic Association, Kojak Smith, promised 2 days filled with food and family fun.
Yes, we have our track meet coming up this weekend. We're actually doing a 3-part track meet. So we're doing the U18 and U20. It's basically selection for that upcoming tournament, which will be on the 17th to the 20th of May. So we're trying to select athletes for that, as well as we'll have the seniors at that same meet as well. So we're just putting everything together as much as possible so that we could kind of curtail on some of the spending because we really don't have any funds at this point in time. So we're still accepting sponsorships. So we're just trying to hit the different media rungs to try and get athletes coming out. We want this to be it's a national meet, so we want it to be national, whereby athletes from all over the country are able to come and represent themselves, do their best stuff, showing that the districts have talent as well, and just coming out and supporting the event and registering. We do have a Google form on the page. You could go on the Belize Athletic Association Facebook page and sign up right there, pay online, or you could come and pay at the day of the event. We're also trying to incorporate a corporate side of it, where we're trying to ask corporate or businesses to come out and we're having a corporate relay. So you come out with your best 5 runners and it's a 5K, 1 lap around the large track each. And you're going for bragging rights, and you have medals and trophies as well. And we have an open 5K for male on Sunday and an open 3K for female on Sunday as well. So it's a 2-day event. We're trying to make it as holistic and family feel as possible. So we do have food. Iguana Sap has agreed to be selling food out there as well. We have a small bar. We have tents, so you don't have to worry about the sun. You can come out and enjoy the time and watch events and really have fun. Bring out the kids. I mean, track and field is something that we've not had that support from. So we're trying to ask the public to try and put the support behind track and field.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness received a $1.8 million donation. This donation came from donors Edward and Patricia Lord, members of the Belizean diaspora, and Build Belize Incorporated. It consisted of equipment such as medical and birthing beds, defibrillators, patient monitors, infusion pumps, and vital sign monitors to be distributed across the country. News 5's Brittany Gordon reports.
For husband and wife, Edward and Patricia Lord, upgrading Belize's healthcare system is a primary concern. Having worked in the U.S. healthcare system for over 10 years, the Belizean-American couple understands the cost and effort it takes to elevate the standard of healthcare. With assistance from the Belizean diaspora and the Belize Bill Incorporated, the couple was able to gift the ministry over $1 million worth of supplies. Health and Wellness Minister Kevin Bernard expressed his gratitude.
Let me first of all start by thanking Mr. Edward and Patricia Lord on their generous support and the people in diaspora who also supported them. But it is their vision that really saw this through, and we were happy to partner with them in terms of sourcing out the funding to get the shipping done. But definitely, as you know, the list of items, I cannot express how grateful we are as a country, as a people, and as a ministry in receiving these very much needed equipment. As CEO Cancino mentioned, a lot of these things are going to help to improve service delivery to patients, not only at KTMH, but across the country. And so it means a lot to us. I mean, when you talk about additional ICU beds, birthing beds, defibrillators, patient monitors, all these things that have been donated, really equipment that is always in need and demand at our facility if we are to provide good health care.
Although the handing over ceremony occurred at the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital in Belize City, the equipment will be distributed to several health facilities across the country.
Well, there's a list of identified areas that I know when Mr. Lord they had visited, they know they have identified specific equipment that should be going. And as I had said in my message, that when I spoke to them initially, they have asked that we ensure that some of these equipment goes exactly where they have been recommended. So some of them are HMH in various parts of the country, Western Region Hospital or regions and community hospitals. So I don't have that list in terms of exactly what's going where. But I know that they have identified what is needed, where it's needed, and how then. So my CEO will be working along with the team to ensure that these things are distributed in a timely manner. So we don't want them to be sitting in a container, but they are now, the next step is to get them deployed into the where it needs to go so that we could start to utilize these donations.
Minister of Tourism and Diaspora Relations, Anthony Mahler, said that while this donation will improve Belize's ability to provide healthcare to visitors, ensuring the safety and well-being of Belizeans is a priority.
It just gives us more equipment to give better service in all our hospitals and polyclinics and centers that we treat people. So not only for the tourists, for me, but we need to get these things and make the necessary investments for our people first, and then we will be able to do the rest for the tourists.
As the donation came from members of the diaspora, Mahler reflected on the work Belizeans outside the country have done to ensure the well-being of friends and family in Belize.
The diaspora unit is a conduit for people all around the world to be able to support us back home here in Belize, whatever they're sending back. So it could be in terms of donations. So we have gotten sneakers, we've gotten equipment like this, we've gotten food supply, we've gotten a lot of stuff donated through Build Belize and through the diaspora unit. The diaspora already sends back close to $250 million through the official sources. That's not the amount that comes through barrels and envelopes and suitcases and stuff like that. So they contribute a tremendous amount. But these things are expensive to move, and so we did our part in terms of helping to raise the money for them to be able to ship.
Bernard said that the ministry will ensure that the equipment is properly stored and cared for. He hopes that more collaborations like this can occur in the future.
As I said, we will make sure that these donated items are properly taken care of and distributed on a timely manner, so that yes, we don't want to see any of these things damaged. It took a lot of work, $1.8 million US, close to $4 million, and so we need to ensure that these equipments are protected, but at the same time put to use, and that's what we're going to do.
Will you be collaborating with them in the future?
Well, of course, we are grateful to them, and as Minister Mahler also mentioned, to Ambassador Murphy, who again, through her Belize Inc., in support with the Lords, we are very much open to ensure that we continue to collaborate. I know that, as they mentioned, there were some little inks in between the whole process. It took 10 years for them to really get this to where it is now. And those are the little things that we have to fix. But at the end of the day, they have my support as the Minister of Health, they have my ministry's support, and we're going to continue to lobby and accept things like these, because at the end of the day, it benefits not me personally, but it benefits the Belizean people.
Brittany Gordon for News 5.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at channel5belize.com, on our Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.